don't want to be the same person 5 years from now. I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. And I was constantly watching porn. That little voice would be telling me I felt like such a failure. I couldn't sleep. Every single one of those things came true. I'm done, like enough is enough. What is going on, guys? Back again today. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ivan Compres. I'm 20 years old and I run an online fitness coaching business where I help men transform their lives and become their best versions. In today's video, the topic is going to be about 3 habits that will change your life forever. These 3 habits will quite literally transform your entire life and take you from where you are now to your desired outcome and your desired dreams. So make sure to pay attention, take notes, and stay locked in. I remember back when I was literally skinny as hell, had no confidence. I would wake up in the morning and look myself in the mirror and just be like, damn, like, why can't I be more muscular? I remember I used to put on my shirt to go to school, and literally my arms wouldn't even fill out the shirt. Like now when I put on a shirt, it's tight, but like the sleeves would literally just drop. You couldn't even see my arms. It looked like there was nothing there. And I remember like trying to tuck in the shirt like a little bit like under my armpit so it would kind of look like I had arms to make like the shirt be tighter. And literally like I would walk around like that. And then when it would come loose, I'd be like, oh shit, like, and I'd always fix it. And it was because I couldn't stand who I saw in the mirror. I had no confidence. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't consistent with my habits. I wasn't consistent with my routines. I was literally just waking up in the morning and kind of just being like, man, like, I'm skinny as hell. Like, what can I do to actually get myself where I want to be? Because I'm tired of feeling like this. And then when I would go to school, like, people would laugh at me, call me skinny, call me small. And it just got to a point where I was like, I'm done. Like, enough is enough. And I really got to lock in because I truly felt like shit every single day. Like I'd wake up in the morning, go in the mirror, like expecting there to be a difference, and there was just nothing there. Like I remember thinking in my head, like, how come that dude's fit? Like why can't I be fit? Like why can't I have muscles that like fill out my body? Like I didn't understand it. I truly didn't understand it. And I thought that maybe it was like my genetics. I thought maybe like it had to do with, you know, just how I was. Like I just thought that like that's how I was gonna be forever. I thought I was gonna be skinny forever. And I used to always make excuses and be like, oh, it's hard for me to put on weight. Or like, oh, my metabolism's fast. Like I would literally make so many excuses and they were literally just coping mechanisms because I wasn't doing anything to get myself in the right direction. And I remember one day, like one of my boys, they just like, at the time, they invited me to go to the gym. They're like, yo, you should like start lifting. Like we're all lifting like early in the morning before school, like you should come. And I remember I literally had like barely any knowledge of lifting. I would like never went to the weight room. All I really knew was like bicep curls and like that's really it. And so I went to the gym that first time. This was around like my freshman year of high school. I went to the gym for the first time and it was fun. Like I enjoyed it. I started going like in the mornings and I started going with the guys and getting lifts in, and I was still pretty skinny. Like I didn't see much results. Like I was just kind of winging it when I'd go. I wouldn't push intensely. I would just do the reps and that was really it. But it was a start. And in time, you know, I started to realize like, okay, this is how I'm gonna start to fill out. But my diet was still terrible. Like I was still eating Burger King every day after school. I was eating fast food daily. And so I wasn't seeing much progress at all. Then 2020 hit, everybody was home and the gym entirely fell off. Like I stopped going completely. I literally fell off for like 2 years of going to the gym. I didn't go to the gym at all. And I just got skinny again. Like the little progress I had was gone. I got skinny again. And I remember I picked up the gym again because I had went through like a tough time with the relationship I was in, dealt with a breakup, and I was like, all right, like, yo, I'm done being like a skinny loser. Like I'm done. And so I started taking the gym seriously right after that breakup. And I started going. I didn't really know much, but I was just kind of watching YouTube videos like, oh, best basketball workouts, because I was a basketball player. I was like, best basketball lifting workouts, stuff like that. I would look up stuff like that and I'd apply it. And so I was going to the gym around 4 or 5 days a week at this point. At this point, I was probably around like 17 years old. And literally, I just started going. I didn't know much. I didn't know failure sets. I didn't know progressive overload, but I was just going and lifting. And I started to see some progress. I started to see some newbie gains. And I started to actually like look a lot better than I was before. Like my shirts were actually like pretty tight. I had a couple shirts that were tight on me. Not every shirt, but I had a few that like my arms were actually showing. And I was like, man, like this is real. And I remember that feeling that first time that I put on like a t-shirt that used to be loose on me and my arms would fill it out. I remember that feeling. I was like, man, like this feels amazing. I remember feeling like I came so far. I remember looking in the mirror and like just smiling and seeing the skinny version of me in the reflection, but then actually seeing the me that filled out the shirt, and it was like the most satisfying feeling in the world. Like literally, I went from being a skinny like loser who had no confidence, ate fast food all the time, to actually going to the gym, filling out my shirts. And this was around the time when I started to actually lock in with my diet as well. I stopped eating a bunch of crap and I completely cut out fast food altogether at the age of around 17. I like never went back. And truly it changed my life. It changed my life completely. And that confidence that I gained, it's like I carried myself different. It's like I had an aura to me. It's like I would walk around and I just like felt good. Like I felt a lot more confidence. It wasn't nearly what it is now, but I felt way more confident. Now what I do, like obviously years down the line, is, you know, I've done progressive overload. I've done a lot of progressive overload in my training. You know, every single week I make sure that I'm going harder in the gym. Every single week I make sure that I am pushing to my absolute limits. I make sure that I'm resting. I make sure that I'm having proper recovery. I make sure that my diet is locked in. All those things I am implementing now, and that's why my physique is where it is. But when I started, it literally was just from like YouTube videos. But as soon as I figured out the sciences behind it and what exactly I needed to do, was when I started to make the most gains. And so with basketball, I always had the cardio. I was always in the gym shooting hoops, getting up shots, working out. So I always had the cardio aspect, so I stayed lean. I was naturally like always pretty lean, especially being skinny. But then when I started to put on mass, I still stayed lean because I was always playing basketball. And the cardio was a huge aspect. You know, when I put on that cardio with the basketball on top of the weightlifting, it was like I stayed lean, but I was also putting on muscle mass. So that's a huge important part, especially if you're starting the gym. You guys gotta be going to failure. You gotta be pushing yourself. You gotta be progressive overloading, increasing the weight each and every single week. And you have to incorporate cardio. You gotta somehow get cardio in, whether it be shoot some hoops, walk on the treadmill. That's how you're gonna stay lean and make the most gains, because it's what worked for me. I literally went from being a skinny loser to being in the top shape because I followed those simple steps. Think about how you feel. Think about how it feels to be average. Think about how it feels to not see results. Think about how it feels every single day to wake up and look in that mirror. Think about it. You owe it to yourself to go intense in the gym. You owe it to yourself to push yourself to your absolute limits. You owe it to yourself to fuel your body with clean foods. How does it feel? If you don't actually level up now, you're going to always feel like that. 5 years from now, you're going to be the same exact person. You're going to feel the same exact ways, low in confidence, can't bear to look yourself in the mirror, and low self-esteem. You're not going to feel good. And it's because of the fact that you aren't doing these things. You aren't locking in. When I wasn't locking in, I felt terrible. But as soon as I flipped the switch and applied these things, was when my life actually started to change. Now I'm gonna put up this stat. About 3 out of 4 adults in the United States can't see their abs. They can't see their six-pack, or they're overweight. That's absolutely insane. The fact that you can't even see your six-pack, the fact that you don't have the muscle definition that you want, because you want to indulge in food, you don't want to go to the gym intensely, you want to be inconsistent. All those things are holding you back, and it's never been easier to stick out from being average. The average man can't see their six-pack and they're not into shape. So all you really have to do is start taking the gym consistently, start hitting the gym consistently, start taking your diet more seriously, and everything will change for you. It'll literally change for you that quick. The life that you want and the physique that you want is right behind you taking action, but the longer that you just continue to stagnate and continue to stay where you are, is how much longer life is going to be the way it is. It's how much longer you're going to look in that mirror and not like who you see. And the guys in the program are able to get the best results because they understand that it all starts with them. It's all about consistency. I can give them all my energy, all my time, but they need to actually show up too, and they understand that in their mind. And what we work on in the program is we make sure that their mindset's dialed in, on top of their nutrition, training, cardio, all that stuff. We work on the mindset because that's the most important thing. So look at my client, Gabe. I started working with Gabe at the beginning of the summer. He literally started at 150 pounds. He came to me at 150 pounds, he's a basketball player as well. And he wanted to put on more muscle mass. He wanted to put on more strength. And by the end of the summer, Gabe went from 150 to 160. He went up 10 pounds within 3 months, absolutely transformed his game. He became a much better basketball player, literally had appearances in games in the summer league where he was dropping over 30 points. And now he's going on to his college basketball career. Like, Gabe is absolutely dialed in. He's been as dialed in as ever. We worked on a bunch of stuff with his mindset. We worked on his time management. We worked on it all. And because Gabe actually listened and applied each and every single thing, he was able to get those results. Look at my guy Jesus in the program. Jesus literally started the program at 206 pounds. And within a few weeks, he was able to drop down to 190 pounds because he stayed locked in. He stayed locked in. He went to the gym every single day. He followed the meal plan and he was consistent. That's why he was able to see the results that he did. And it's because as well, we worked on his mindset and made sure that he was training with progressive overload, his nutrition was right, and he was hitting the cardio he needed to. Jesus was spending his time wisely in the gym, and that's why he was able to make results, because he literally didn't miss a workout. So now the second habit that changed my life was reading. I remember for so long in like my high school years, I would despise reading. I would look at a book and be like, I do not want to read this right now. I do not want to go through this. The only time I would ever read was when, like, in class, my teacher would make me read for homework. That's it. That's literally it. But every time, like, my friends or, like, people would ask me, like, yo, like, do you read this? Like, have you ever read this? I'd be like, yo, I like movies more. I like movies more than books. And it was because I didn't have the dopamine in my mind to actually get me to where I needed to be. I was constantly chasing cheap dopamine. I was constantly watching porn. I was constantly, just engaging in vices, things I shouldn't have. And that's why I physically couldn't sit down and read a book. I literally couldn't. I would sit down, and when I had to read books for homework, I remember going online and searching up like this website called Spark Notes. And it would give you all the notes from like the chapters. So I wouldn't even read. I would literally pull up this website, or I'd just search up on the Google, be like, summary of chapter 3 of, let's say, The Great Gatsby. Like, I didn't even read books because I couldn't. I physically just could not sit down and read it because my dopamine receptors were so fried from just watching the hub, playing so many video games and binge scrolling all the time. I couldn't physically sit down. But as soon as I was able to overcome that, I was able to leave porn in the rear view, I was able to leave all these things in the rear view, I immediately noticed how fun reading actually is because my dopamine receptors weren't fried. As soon as I started reading 5 to 10 pages a day, the knowledge and the way that I'm able to articulate myself now is because of that. I wasn't able to speak like this in the past before I started reading. Reading absolutely opened up my mind, and it allowed me, and it gave me an avenue to make so much progress. Because I started learning all this knowledge of people's entire lifetimes within hours. Within hours, I was learning lifetimes worth of mistakes and lifetimes worth of solutions to problems. And so I was able to avoid years and years and years of making failures myself because I actually sat down and read books. And once I started reading, it was like I got addicted. I just couldn't go back. I was like, man, this is like literally the best thing ever because I'm learning from the most successful people how to actually navigate life. Like, I read self-improvement books, all sorts of books. That's what I started with. I never really was into like fiction and all that stuff. I read self-improvement books. First ever book I read to actually get me in the right direction was Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. And so Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins really taught me that in order to make the most progress necessary, I had to associate more pain with not doing anything than actually taking action. And that principle always stuck out to me because literally you will never take action if you think that it's easier and less painful to stay where you are. Bro, think about how you feel every single morning when you look in the mirror. Think about how you feel when you put on that clothes and it doesn't fit you the way you want it to. Think about how that feels. And then think about how it feels to actually hit the gym, eat healthy, eat clean, and get the physique that you want. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do that, but it should be more painful for you to stay exactly where you are than to go all in and try and then actually get the results you want. You should genuinely hurt more to stay where you are. Because only in my mind can I imagine if I was the same person 5 years from now, that would be endless pain. I don't want to be the same person 5 years from now. I want to be a completely different individual that is 10 times, actually 100 times better than where I am now. 100 times better. And that's what you should have in your mind. You should never settle. You should never be okay with where you are or be complacent. You should constantly be striving for more because as soon as you become complacent, you are no longer growing and you are only getting one step closer to dying. Second self-improvement book I read that absolutely transformed my life was Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Now, this book was truly eye-opening for me because what it talks about in the book is the concept of being a drifter versus a non-drifter. Now, what is a drifter and a non-drifter? A lot of people go through life on autopilot. Maybe you find yourself going through life on autopilot. Every day you wake up, you go through your little routine, you go to work, you get home from work, you cook some food, you watch some Netflix, and you go to bed. Maybe that's your routine. Maybe you play a bunch of video games and instead of going out and actually doing what you're supposed to, instead of going to the gym, you're too busy playing on your PlayStation or your computer, right? Literally, what it talks about is how If you engage in these things and don't live in your purpose, you are a drifter, and the devil has control over you. He has control over you because he has it easy on you. You're so engaged in all these superficial things that you aren't actually paying attention to what your soul's purpose is on this earth. And now a non-drifter is the opposite. A non-drifter is conscious of all these things and realizes porn is a distraction, video games are a distraction, literally binge watching TV is a distraction. They're all there for a reason. I could be working on XYZ right now. So you know what? I'm going to work on XYZ right now because I'm not only going to change my life, but I'm going to change others' lives by working on this. That's what a non-drifter is somebody who's so locked in on their purpose that nothing is steering them away. Drinking, alcohol, vaping, none of it is steering them away because they understand that their purpose comes first. They understand that if I don't put my purpose first, I'm a slave to my flesh and I'm essentially leading to my own demise. And it talks about how if you aren't a non-drifter and you're a drifter, you're going into this state of life called a hypnotic rhythm. Now, a hypnotic rhythm is almost like, think about when somebody gets hypnotized, right? That, like, you think about like the image of the clock swinging and then somebody like gets hypnotized, right? Literally, essentially that's what a hypnotic rhythm is. It's like you're hypnotized in this like fantasy of reality. You know, you're going out every weekend and drinking, you're hooking up with random girls all the time, you're drinking alcohol, you're vaping. You're in this situation where like you are under the control of your external circumstances. You aren't the boss of your reality. You aren't the boss of your life anymore. You're literally being controlled by these external things that are shaping your life. If that external thing doesn't happen, let's say you were supposed to go out, get drunk, and hook up with that girl, and then plans get canceled, what happens? You beat your meat? Or you turn on your video games and start playing? You're not controlling your life, but you are being controlled by it. You should be the one controlling your entire reality. You should be the one creating things, but instead, you are consuming it all. You're consuming. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be a creator or do you want to be a consumer? Do you want to create the physique of your dreams, have that dream career, be the happiest you've ever been? Or do you want to just continue to vape, drink, hook up with random girls, and watch the hub? At the end of the day, which reality is leading to more happiness? And I'm so grateful I was able to realize this at a young age because I was not going down a great path. I was watching porn, like relapsing like multiple times a day, just watching the hub, beating my meat, like just constantly. And it was like a constant void. I mean, I felt terrible. And that's part of the reason why I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. So I'm glad that I was able to come across these books, start going to the gym, and start reframing my mindset. It all played a factor into me being as confident as I am today. So now 3 other books I recommend for you to read if you're truly trying to take your self-improvement journey to the next level and actually break free from all your vices and just become the best version of you. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. In that order. If you read those books, I am literally telling you your life will completely change. Now, the third habit that absolutely transformed my life was waking up early. I can't describe how many mornings I used to wake up and snooze that alarm. I literally remember the feeling of sleeping until 10:30 a.m. and waking up and feeling like I wasted half of my day. And this wasn't a feeling that like happened once. It was like always. Weekends would come because during the week I would be in school and I would have to wake up like at a decent time. But the weekends would come and man, I'd waste that away. I'd sleep till like 10:30, 11, wake up. It was almost afternoon. Everybody's days were undergoing and I'm just getting out of bed. I felt like such a failure. I felt terrible knowing that everybody else's day was already ahead. Like literally even in my own house, like I would see my parents already up like doing stuff and I'd be like, damn, I literally feel like I'm a failure. I feel like I'm a loser right now. And then I'd go on Instagram and I'd see like other people's stories and see that like they were already at the basketball court or they were doing something else and I'd be like, damn, I'm literally getting my ass whooped right now by everybody because I'm sleeping. Like I felt like sleeping in was giving others an edge over me. And maybe that was just me. Maybe that's just how I thought and I still think like that today. But literally I felt terrible every time I sleep in. And then I remember I'd try like waking up early for a bit and I'd do it for like 2-3 days because I was motivated. And then I'd start snoozing. I'd snooze one day and then like it's almost like my subconscious would just snooze. It would just snooze like every single day for weeks. And I'd be like, what the hell happened? I was consistent for a few days. I even maybe went 7 days and I was consistent, and now I fell off for 2-3 weeks. And so it's like all the progress I made was just immediately gone. And I would feel so terrible and sick to my stomach because I knew I was meant for more. Even on the days when I had school, I would literally snooze my alarm so many times to the point where I'd wake up and I'd have 5 minutes to leave the house. 5 minutes, I'd have to brush my teeth, change into my clothes. Couldn't even do my morning routine. Morning routine is gone, out the window. Out the window. I couldn't even take my time to, make my bed, do any of it because of my laziness and my desire to just get a few extra minutes in bed that made no difference. No difference. And then some days I would literally be late to school because I would snooze so many times, and then I'd take my time and be like, you know what? Yo, school can wait. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I would just be late. And it was because I was being lazy. I was being lazy. And the thing is, once I actually mastered the art of waking up was when my life started to change. Yeah, the other two habits I mentioned are great, like reading and the gym. But if you really want to take your life to the next level, bro, wake up early. Because not everybody's doing that. Yeah, a lot of people can go to the gym. Yeah, a lot of people can read. But dude, I'm telling you, if you want to get to that upper echelon, that 1%, you have to wake up early. You have to wake up before everyone else. And I'm not saying wake up at 3 a.m., but you should be waking up like 5:30, 6 a.m. at the latest. Because you need to get an edge. You need to be ahead. Imagine everybody else you know is getting out of bed at 7. And 7 a.m. hits, you already took a cold shower, you already made your bed, you already hit your push-ups, you already went for a walk, and now you're literally about to get in your first work block or do whatever you have to do. Imagine how great that feels that everybody else is just waking up and you're so ahead. That's what waking up early does. It puts you ahead of the game, and not even just that, it puts you ahead of the game with yourself because you're competing with you. You shouldn't be competing with anybody else, but compete with you. Compete with you. And when you wake up early, you now have an edge over the past you because the past you was not doing that. The past you was sleeping in and snoozing the alarm like a loser. I remember those days when I would literally not wake up early. I'd snooze my alarm. It would get even worse because that momentum would carry throughout the whole day. I would go to school, I would come home, and the first thing I would do is turn on my PlayStation and start playing. I'd get on GTA, start playing GTA. It was like, I remember it was like 3 p.m. I'd be playing. Before I knew it, it was like 7 p.m. and my mom was telling me it's dinner time. I'd go eat dinner. I'd rush back to my room to play my video games. I'd get on the game again. It'd be like 10:30 and I had to go to bed for the next day. I would waste my entire afternoon. And I remember getting in bed those nights. I tell you, I couldn't sleep. And at the moment, I didn't exactly pick up on it, but now I see that I knew I was meant for more. I would literally be in my bed for 40, 50, an hour just thinking about everything, replaying the whole day, replaying it all. I was at a point where like I would literally think about stuff like I said to somebody during the day and be like, oh, I should have said this instead. Like I had that much mental capacity inside of me that I would literally regret things that I did during the day. Nowadays, I don't even have the mental capacity to do that. I'm so focused, I'm so locked in, I don't even think. I get into my bed and my brain is like, yo, it's go time. I sleep within 5 minutes every single night. I don't have time to think. But back in those days, I was thinking about anything and everything. I was thinking about what I could have said to that girl. I was thinking about, oh, this little argument I got into with my boy. I should have said this. Like stupid stuff I would think about, and it would consume me. And it was a cycle that would go on day and day and day and day and day. And it was like, snooze the alarm, go to school, come home, play video games, feel like a loser at night. And it was like an endless cycle that just constantly went on. And it contributed to my lack of self-esteem and my lack of confidence. It contributed to that because I literally was losing the morning. As soon as you miss that wake up, you lose the morning. I literally felt like I didn't have time. But you know what? We all have 24 hours in a day. We all have 168 hours in a week. We all have the same amount of time. Everyone works a job. Everyone has stuff they need to do. But guess what? What separates you from the many is the morning time. It's dedicating a time for your morning routine. So now what I do in my morning routine, I eat the frog early. I do what's hard as soon as I start the day. I hit 50 push-ups. After that, I immediately fix my bed. I get in the cold shower. I read my Bible, and boom, first work block of the day. I don't waste time. That is my morning routine. It's very concise. It's very simple. But it's not easy, man. That little voice would be telling me, Ivan, snooze that alarm. Ivan, do we have to hit these push-ups? Ivan, do we have to get in the cool shower? Yo, maybe we could just skip reading the Bible today. This little voice never goes away, even today. Even at this point, it doesn't go away. But the way that I deal with it is that I do it anyways. I literally tell it, shut up. And I do it anyways. That voice never goes away. No matter how skilled you are, it never goes away. But you always have to beat it. You have to beat it today, you have to beat it tomorrow, and you take it battle by battle. Now I'm going to put up this stat to show you how important it is to wake up. If you wake up 2 hours earlier than everyone else for a year, you gain 30 extra days. Instead of 12 months, your year is 13 months long. Do you know how much of an edge that gives you? If in 2023 you were a loser, 2022 you were a loser, 2024 you were a loser, 2025 you don't have to be. You literally just need to wake up 2 hours earlier. If you're waking up at 7, wake up at 5. If you're waking up at 8, wake up at 6. You gain an entire month of your life. An entire month. And until you actually realize that, you are going to be exactly where you are. You're going to stay stagnant. You're going to stay stagnant. Imagine having 13 months every single year. You have an entire extra month than everyone else. An entire extra month to make more progress. Now you add that up over a decade, it almost adds up to an entire extra year. Instead of 10 years, it's 11. And waking up early starts the night before. It literally starts the night before. Every single night before I wake up, I write out my biggest goals. I have all my tasks in place, and I optimize my Google Calendar to get to where I need to be. If you aren't on Google Calendar, download Google Calendar right now and watch this video right here that is going to break down exactly how to optimize your entire Google Calendar so that you get in the right direction. Literally, if you optimize your Google Calendar, block out your time blocks, block out your tasks, you will not lose. It all starts the night before though. You need to review that every single night before you go to bed, so that you know what to expect the next day. You know exactly what time you dedicate to X, Y, and Z, and exactly what time you dedicate to your gym, to your cooking, all of it. It's all optimized. And as soon as you start to live like that, you start to plan ahead. 99% of people don't plan ahead. 99% of people just drift. They wake up every single day not knowing what to expect, not knowing what to do, spend 5-6 hours binge scrolling because they don't have a purpose. They don't have one. But you're watching this for a reason. You've watched this far for a reason. You have a purpose and you have the opportunity to change your life. So I'm literally telling you, optimize your Google Calendar, get it to where it needs to be, check out that video next, and it will literally get you in the right direction. Now, for those of you that watched all the way through, I'm going to give you a bonus habit that will literally change your entire life after you apply the other 3. And it is extremely powerful. So I'm sharing this with only you guys that made it all the way to the end. So this 4th habit is visualization. If you visualize the life that you dream of, it'll all come true. It'll all come true. Every single time I've used visualization, I still use it to this day, it all ends up coming true. And the way that I've done it has been always before bed when I go to sleep. When I go to bed at night, I close my eyes and I envision my reality. So for those of you that may be new here, I used to take basketball very seriously. I used to love basketball. It was my dream sport. I always wanted to go very far with it, eventually become a professional. And literally every night I would close my eyes. And this was back when I sucked. I would close my eyes and I would imagine myself making tons of threes. I would imagine myself being a great player. I imagined myself being the starter of the varsity team. I imagined myself getting an offer to a prep school to play basketball. Every single night I would imagine. And how can I tell you? But every single one of those things came true. I got an offer to a prep school to play basketball. I became the starting point guard at the prep school. I had an extremely high three-point percentage, over 30% from beyond the arc. Literally, my entire life changed because I visualized it all in here. I visualized it all in here. I also took action, but I visualized. Action paired with visualization creates results 10 times quicker. When you understand the fact that your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's a dream, you use it to your advantage. The mind is so powerful. And so imagine yourself. I want you to imagine yourself with your dream physique. Let's say you want to be jacked, you want to be confident, you want to manifest the woman of your dreams, you want to have a beautiful wife, you want to have a beautiful family, you want to create generational wealth, or you want to, get a promotion in your job, whatever it may be. I want you to visualize it all to a T every single night before you go to bed. Every single night. And I want you to feel what it feels like, because a lot of people will just think about it, like, oh, that'd be nice. But you need to feel what it feels like to be that man that has it all. I felt it. I felt myself. I felt the joy of getting that offer to go to the prep school. I felt the joy of hitting all those three-pointers. I felt the joy of being the starting point guard. I felt it all. And guess what? Within some time, it became my reality. But you just need to understand and not get discouraged that the physical world is going to take time to catch up. You're not just going to visualize for a week and it's going to come into reality. The physical world has to catch up, But as soon as you believe it up here, it's only a matter of time. It's already yours. It's already yours. You need to have the mindset that it is already yours. The fact that you can even see it and hear it means God planted it in your heart for a reason, and it is yours now. It's yours now, but you need to have unwavering confidence that it's yours. And when you do that, it will come into your reality. Now, why am I sharing this special tip with you guys? Because yeah, the other three are great. They're all actionable steps that you can take physically. But now you need to win the mental game. The mental game. You win the mental game by not only taking those actions, but also by visualizing and having unwavering belief and faith. When you do that, your results will come 10 times quicker. I'm telling you, if you apply all 4 of these habits to your life starting today, by the end of 2025, which is within a few months, you will be a completely different individual. You will literally come back to this video and be like, yo, Ivan, this video changed my life. That's how serious this is. If you truly just apply it, you will change your life. But there's 2 different individuals. There's one individual who watches a bunch of YouTube videos and does nothing, takes no notes, does nothing, just watches it and saves it to his watch later for when he wants to watch it, and then never does because he forgets about it. And there's individual number 2 who takes notes on the videos, applies everything, and actually takes action. And the difference between these 2 individuals is one of them is a binge scroller who wants to be the best version of himself, but is wasted potential because all he does is just scroll and watch and consume and consume and consume. Number two consciously consumes and understands that I can change my life if I actually listen to what this video is saying, applies it, and changes his life. There's 2 different individuals. Now the question is, which one are you going to be? And when you visualize, it makes you more confident. Every single day you wake up like you're that version of you that's jacked, that's confident, that has everything you want, that has the woman of your dreams. Because your mind can't tell the difference between what's real and what's a dream. And as soon as you understand that fact, your entire life will change before your eyes. I mean, I literally went from being a skinny loser who was broke and had no direction in his life to being as confident as ever, attracting beautiful women all around me, having my own online fitness coaching business, and being in a position where I'm free. I can travel wherever I want, I can move wherever I want because I'm consistent. And I took a chance on myself and applied each and every single one of these things and understood that I was not average, I was chosen. For those of you watching this video, you are chosen too. And if you watched all the way through and feel like you need more guidance, you want to just take things to another level and truly have things structured just for you and a brother with you in the trenches that is going to go through every single obstacle from A to Z right with you, apply for Built by Faith coaching down below. If you're fit, we'll hop on a call and we'll take it from there. But with that being said, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.